This is the Sacred Business Podcast, a show for spiritual women identifying entrepreneurs and leaders. I am Sora Suriano. On this show, you'll meet inspiring guests, get some business tips, experience sacred practices, and listen to my personal lessons as a business owner. As a transformational business coach, powerful medicine woman, inspirational speaker, fire igniter, heart whisperer, and world traveler, I've helped hundreds of women around the world heal their stories and transform their sacred businesses. It's time for us to claim our rightful and equitable place in entrepreneurship through scaling our business efforts. You are worthy, divine sister. This is episode 15. Today, I'm so excited to bring back a Stay Sacred guest interview with my dear sister friend and a sacred business team member by the name of Elle North. Elle is a graphic designer whose work is deeply intertwined with the tarot and all things mystical. Elle's way of showing up as a designer and teacher stems from her training as an educator and a personal practice of integrating tarot, mythology, inner reflection, and ancestral connection into her daily life. As someone who began playing with website design in 1997, Elle weaves her passions together in her offerings of one-on-one web design and supporting entrepreneurs in creating their own websites. Hello, sisters, and welcome to Stay Sacred, a 21-day practice with me, Sora Suriano, and with Elle North. Hey, girl!
Hello, Sora. It's so wonderful to be here.
It is so lovely to have you here. Elle and I move through so many realms together. We play in all sorts of ways. We've collaborated together. We've been on each other's teams, like all of these different ways. And you truly are such a dear sister to me. So I just love you and thank you for being here.
Thank you so much, sister, for holding this space.
So, my lovely ladies, if you haven't had a chance to meet Elle, then let's drop in and I want you to feel her. So, close your eyes and listen. Elle North is an intuitive mystic, spiritual mentor, teacher, and inspired graphic designer. As a Reiki master who combines knowledge of tarot, intuition, meditation, yoga, and crystals, Elle creates unique offerings, courses for soul seekers. Elle is the creatrix of the Wisdom Within School of Intuition and is also the temple priestess in a school for the high priestess, a cosmic journey through the archetypes of the tarot. Elle's work is to empower others to connect to their inner wisdom. She believes in the power of healing, energy, art, stones, and intuition. An alchemist at heart, Elle thrives in a space where things are sacred and full of ritual. She knows transformation can occur when we move the unconscious to the conscious, the inner world to the outer world. How does it feel listening to me share who you are?
It was actually something I was reflecting on, just closing my eyes and feeling into all of the energies that are kind of embracing every single one of those words that you shared about me, even though I know those words, just hearing them feels like a really empowering reflection to hear another sister reflect that back to me. Because I can say it and I can read it, but to hear it for me, it feels like a deep activation within my system.
Yeah, I agree. And even though this won't be your practice, I wonder if we can put it as a side practice, a little bonus practice for you sisters, which is as a coach, as a business coach, what I love about working with women is this idea, and I do this in circle too, which is reflect back the greatness of the women that's in front of you. And when it comes to your business, if you already have a bio and you might have really beautifully written it yourself, but it's not sinking in unless you hear it from someone else and you can drop in and weave the energetics into your body. And it actually really changes and shifts the way you show up in the world because you're like, wait, who wrote that? And that's me? Like, damn, I'm good.
And that's exactly the energy that I had. And I realized, wow, has somebody else ever read that? And I believe that you have in different situations, but just closing my eyes and dropping in for me, as we're here talking about sacred, it felt deeply sacred to receive that as opposed to actively listening or being distracted, like to be fully present while hearing that felt very, very, very much like a celebration and a ceremony in and of itself. So thank you.
It's an honor to do so. So speaking of it feeling deeply sacred, would you mind sharing a little bit about what the word sacred means to you?
Yes, of course. So I spent a lot of time in meditation feeling into sacred and how I know when I'm experiencing sacred. And the most concise feeling that I came up with was when I am experiencing sacred, I am reminded of my inner divinity. So I'm somebody who is really passionate and curious, and I consider myself to be a student of classical tantra, where there is this idea of non-dualism, where we are the goddess, we are divine. And as I explored the idea of sacred, for me, I see sacred as a threshold that we can walk into. And then when we are experiencing sacred, whether it's ceremony, whether it's a conversation with a loved one, whether it's a walk outside or a retreat, no matter what it is, that we are in a moment where we are fully free in our divine selves. And then I started to think about, well, what can be qualified as sacred? What makes something sacred? Mm-hmm. And it feels like that sacred thing, whether it's a tarot card or a tree or anything in between, for me, it was something that felt divine, yes, but also that felt very, very close to my heart, something that when you're in its presence, you feel this heart connection, this longing, as though something was very dear and powerful, meaningful to you. And then to just recognize and witness that, to find that within ceremony, but also in the mundane, whether you're, driving, or for me, doing graphic design or planning out your week in your calendar, can you find the sacred within that? And I think that's where the magic happens. That's where the key to everything lies.
I love that, because it is a key into the portal of so much that you can manifest when you get to that place of divinity of all things. Yes. And Elle and I speak about this a lot with our businesses, because our business is us and we are here to serve. And so there is this propelling motion because we must, right? It is our calling and our dharma to do what we do. And Elle, like myself, we do a lot, babe. Like, we do a lot. And we are somewhat made up to do so, whereas other sisters have an essence where there needs to be more and more space. But we have these downloads, and then we go into creation mode very quickly. So I wonder, in the midst of so much in life, how do you continue on in the sacred when you specifically do so much, and they're a broad range of things?
Yeah, it's actually something that I didn't realize how much I needed those moments of sacred within my life until I saw how ungrounded I was without those little pauses throughout the day. So for me, I do a couple of things to really find the sacred within all of the to-do list, right? So sometimes I will literally set an alarm on my phone. I'll say at 11:11 or some non-cosmic number like 2:15. I'm going to pause no matter what it is that I'm doing and just breathe. Or I'm going to pull a tarot card or pull an oracle card or read for 5 minutes in one of my favorite books, whether it's a sacred book or, a romance novel, right? And so for me, yes, the sacred can be, I can carve out an afternoon, 6 hours of meditation and journey work and working with, sage and smudging and really creating a pretty large sacred container. But it can also be 5 minutes at my desk with just closing out of all tabs or closing my laptop and breathing, or pulling a tarot card and asking, oh, okay, how is this going to inform me for the rest of my day or the next project on my list? So for me, weaving these sacred moments in between my to-do list is really important. And I'll even write down on my to-do list, stop.
Yes. Yes.
Pause. And I mean, it's something that I've noticed that the more I do that, the more present I'm able to be for that long list of moving from one project to the next.
Yeah, it's so true. And ladies, we'll talk about what the back end of all of this looks like later. I'll share some in-depth things, but even right now, the craziness of my calendar, I block out times because I have to, or else if I don't block it out, just like I put in the things I need to get done, so I just know and I'm very clear, I also block off times of not doing anything so I can just breathe. Even like go use the bathroom, like whatever it looks like, drink water, like just remember to do these things. And I wonder if one of your other things that you do to take your break is you elevate and you use your standing desk and you might like...
This is true. But sad news, my standing desk actually broke. So what's interesting is that what I've been contemplating is how to shift spaces to leave it elevated all the time and then to maybe shift to another space of seated. But yes, I do have a standing desk. I love it. And there's definitely a transition that happens. It's an energetic shift, a transition that happens when I go from standing to sitting.
Yeah.
It feels, it's so simple. I'm in the same place. I'm just holding my body in a different way. And then my focus, I notice I'm able to really concentrate it. So if I'm feeling distracted, just that movement really helps me to focus in on what it is that I need to do.
I love it. See, little things.
Yeah. Little things.
So I've spoken to sisters about sisterhood. And I'm wondering if we can take it somewhere slightly different. So I'd love to hear your thoughts about sisterhood and how it's impacted you. And I'm really curious if you would share a little bit about sisterhood and collaboration in business.
Yes. So for me, I feel as though sisterhood is a place of holding space, reflecting, and having a sense of presence to elevate, like a standing desk, the energetics of women who are in your circle.
Yeah.
And I feel like, Sora, you have really shown me what sisterhood truly looks like in the way that you hold space, not only for me as a friend, but also as a team member and a collaborator. And like, I feel like you're really wonderful at holding space, no matter what the relationship of the day is between us or between anybody who you're working and playing with. And so for me, what I've really loved, and this is something that you've taught me, is the importance of when you're working with a team or collaborating, whether you are both co-leading a school or you are thinking about doing a workshop together, or it's your VA or a business manager or a graphic designer. You have this wonderful way of starting off a meeting with grounding in, and it's, different every time. And I love how you're able to bring circle in that way. And that's really inspired me, because when I work with my spiritual mentoring clients, or when I'm holding a live call for one of my goddess courses, there is that dropping in. And then to have that same grounding, that same checking in and holding of space, whether it's pulling a tarot card or asking for just how are you feeling today? Like, really, how are you really feeling today? And that's helped me to contemplate how I play with others, whether it's my lovely business manager or a design client, and just to have that that energy of holding each other and like really holding space for each other and sharing on both ends of things. So to allow things to be really whole and complete. And that's something that I really love doing. And it feels like it adds a totally different dynamic. And it feels really, it does feel elevating to have that be a part of whether it's working with a team or a business partner or a group dynamic in any way where you're all working together towards a common goal.
I love that. And I love the working towards a common goal together, honoring each other. And that feels like sisterhood. And then the sacred space, the container, the groundedness, the ability to drop in. That container is the effect of circle that happens that supports the elevation and the vibration that really increases so that we're really deeply committed to our work and how we serve. So that feels really good. And I agree. I think it's so amazing. But with that being said, circle, sisterhood, your business, being really understanding how to stay in the sacred as a practice with all the things you do. I'm thinking about our sisters, and like us, a lot of our sisters are multidimensional, multi-passionate. They do tons of different things. They love different things. They've taken lots of different courses. I'm sure lots of people have heard, like, can you just stick with something or just focus or whatever that looks like, it feels like. Can you share a little bit about the celebrations and the gift of being multidimensional and how it really can actually suit your business and how you serve the world? And if anyone says different, that we actually don't agree.
Oh, absolutely. And I noticed that for myself, I tend to use the fact that I am a Gemini as my excuse whenever I come up against opposition. I'll say, well, I'm a Gemini. I have all these different parts of myself. But what I've noticed is that we can show up in many different ways. For myself, I show up as a teacher, as a spiritual guide, and as a graphic designer. But what I've noticed is that deep magic happens when we see how we can weave and integrate those seemingly separate parts of ourselves together to find this really deep passion that takes us to a whole new level. And I think that if we say, oh, well, I can't do, I could have said, well, I can't do graphic design because I really want to focus on my spiritual mentoring, or the opposite. I could have said that as well. I think that giving myself permission to experience all of the different interests and passions and skills that I have really helped to open a door to a new level of the way that I work with other women. And so for me, there's always this really beautiful moment when I'm using all three of those seemingly different jobs or careers or paths. And that's when I am designing curriculum material for a course. I'm in InDesign. I'm using my graphic design work. I'm thinking about teaching as, someone with a degree in education, and it's all based on spirit. And so I'm able to soothe and expand all those different parts of myself, all those different interests, and they don't have to be separate. And so I think that is something that comes to those who give themselves permission to fully be and to fully go in the multidimensional, to be pulled in all those different directions and just to allow it to happen. And then to allow different combinations to unfold. And then that to me is like a unique place of magic that nobody else has. It's like a secret combination, a combination lock. And then once you unlock it, you have a totally unique, amazing gift to offer to the world that nobody else out there is doing, because it's all you.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. I agree in the fact that you don't need to find a niche or market to one particular person or anything, that all of you is going to make you extraordinary and you what others need. And it's really understanding the big question of who are you versus what are you offering in that one particular way. So I love that, and playing the game of celebrating, I am multidimensional and I am, lots of things, and we can figure out a way to weave it all together to make this beautiful tapestry. So thank you for that. And I hope, sisters, you can feel that and hear that and see our commitment in knowing that that's so true, that you can see a sister here who does so many different things and has figured out, because she has invited herself the opportunity to play with all, to then be all. So thanks, Elle. So with that, would you mind sharing your sacred practice with the sisters today?
Yes, of course. So my sisters, I absolutely love the tarot. And so I have here my Wild Unknown deck, and it has these beautiful, I'll just pull a couple of images. What's so wonderful about this deck is that for me, another owl, the images are really evocative and really gorgeous in a way where, for me, within my practice, just pulling a card and really dropping into the image and seeing all the different pieces, all the different parts of it, really helps me to not only be in the sacred, but also receive some wonderful information and insights. And I feel like the tarot really helps to remind you of wisdom that you already know, or that might be hidden underneath all of your doubts or other thoughts. And it allows this wisdom that you already have within you to come to the surface. And so one of the favorite rituals that I have with the tarot is, I love, whether it's at the beginning of my own meditation practice or feeling into a call with a client along with them, or even before doing a design project, is to pull a card and then to, as I gaze at the image, start to close my eyes and then go on a little journey, a little meditation with that card. And so if you're thinking, but I don't know anything about the tarot, or I don't have a tarot deck, know that it's totally okay. If you have an oracle deck, you can do the same thing. And I really believe in the power of the images within the cards. And so that means that I really feel that you can look at a tarot card without looking at the guidebook and still have great insights and benefits from this meditation by trusting your own wisdom, by finding your own definition for what that card means for you in this moment. And so before I hopped on this call with Sora, I pulled the Daughter of Wands. And so I thought it would be great just to share with you a little bit about how this card desired to be journeyed with today. But before we fully close our eyes, I'd just love for you to gaze at this image, to feel into the snake, to notice the way in which she is curved around this beautiful wand, the way that she makes a infinity sign, or perhaps in your eyes you see the number 8, or perhaps your eyes are showing you something else. To see the way that the branch is blossoming these luscious pink flowers, and the way that there is this black backdrop. And so the snake, is really the point of focus, the snake and the branch. There's not a scenery or anything else that would distract us. Our whole focus is the snake and the wand. So now that you've fully felt into her and this image is perhaps imprinted into your mind's eye, I invite you to close your eyes. And as you maintain that image of the snake, this daughter of wands swirling around her beautiful blossoming branch. See if you can allow your entire being, your entire awareness to focus like a laser beam on this image. However it appears in your mind's eyes, there's no need for it to be correct. There's no wrong way to see this image. And also give the image permission to shift and change and morph into whatever it needs to be. And as you continue to feel into this image, I would like you to imagine, to contemplate what lights you up. What are your passions? How are you multidimensional? What are all those different dimensions? What is it that makes your whole spirit burst into golden sparkles and stardust? Can you imagine in your mind's eye that you are channeling all of these passions, all of these things and experiences that fully light you up? See them being channeled into the wand, into the branch. And notice, does anything shift or change about the branch as you send it the energies of your passions, of your desires, of your longings? Perhaps more flowers blossom, perhaps colors manifest or light. Or maybe it's not something visual, maybe it's more an energetic shift that happens. Just notice, find a sense of presence. What does it look like for all of your passions from all these different dimensions, all these different pieces of yourself to be channeled into this branch, this piece of nature? And can you feel a sense of heat, of warmth rising up within your system? With all of your passions and desires still maintained within this branch, I would like you to imagine that you are the daughter of wands. You are the snake swirling and curving around this branch. And perhaps you even start to move within your body, imagining that you are figure eighting through and around your passions. What is it like to swirl around this magical wand that contains everything that lights you up? Does it feel different at different points in your movement? Do you notice that there are differences within certain places of this branch? Can you find a sense of curiosity as you move around the branch? You're getting so close to it. As you touch it, as you see it, as it comes right up to your nose, maybe you can even kiss it with your lips. What information can you gain from examining, looking at all of these things that light you up, all of your passions, with a sense of curiosity, of exploration? Can you see things from a new perspective, from a new light? And as you do this, notice, how are you feeling? What emotions are rising up for you? What thoughts are occurring? What energy is moving through your chakras? Notice how the mind is allowing all of this to unfold for you. And then slowly start to slow down this movement. Perhaps it comes down to these small little micro movements before you come to full presence and full stillness with your magical wand of fire and spark and passion. And now, my love, in your mind's eye, I would like for you to find yourself so organically, so naturally merging with this wand. Can you see it being imprinted back into your system, just in the same way that you sense your passions out into the wand? Can you call it back in? And notice, did something change? Perhaps it was within the wand, perhaps it was within you or your perspective. Can you imagine that this wand is nestled now in the center line of your body? Its base at your root chakra, its tip at your crown chakra. Can you see almost like these lights of activation illuminating themselves up your center line? Perhaps where the chakras are, perhaps there are more lights than chakras, perhaps they're in your own energetic centers that you see within your mind's eye. Can you feel grounded in your passion, creative and confident? Can you feel your whole heart dedicated in devotion to each one of these passions? Can you feel your throat chakra starts to be really clear, really precise about how you speak about these passions, these things that light you up with others? Can you allow deep wisdom to be downloaded as you remember that these passions are a way to guide you forward on your journey? These passions are a driving force. These desires are a part of you and your unique calling. Take a deep, full breath into this whole experience. Then open the mouth to exhale. With the awareness that this wand, this branch, these lights of activation, all of your passions are still present within your center line. When you are ready, I invite you to bring the eyes back to open.
Thank you so much, Elle.
Thank you.
So, sisters, the invitation is twofold. One is Elle and I would absolutely love and be honored if you feel called to share in the Facebook group what this experience was like, what came forth for you in this deep meditation. The second is if you feel called to pull a card, a tarot card, an oracle card, and I'll share some other online tools that you can use if you don't have any cards, and then share with us maybe through a picture of you holding the card, and just share a little bit about what the meaning is for you, how it reflects an answer or thought or guidance for you for that day. Sounds good. Elle, anything else you want to add to that?
No, just so much gratitude for this experience, and to all the women who are joining virtually. Just so much gratitude to you for carving out this time and space to drop in with me. We appreciate it.
Thank you. I would drop in with you anytime. So, sisters, may you stay sacred today, and we shall continue on with the practices. Bye for now.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to the Sacred Business Podcast with me, Sora Suryano. If you love the show and desire to know more, check out sorasuryano.com. I would also so appreciate it if you would leave a love note, aka a review on iTunes. Now, remember, you have the power to create anything. You are able to bring forth beauty, abundance, and grace in your business and life every day while living a life that is wild, free, and calm. You are worthy, divine sister.